Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Psalm 139, we read about the psalmist's relationship with the Lord and some things that he knew about the Lord that he valued very much. And as we look at these things, we can see how one's relationship with the Lord can be far superior to any relationships that we might have on this earth, as wonderful as those relationships might be. And one of the things that he brings out in the psalm is God's knowledge of him. He says, O Lord, you have searched and have known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You understand my thought from afar. You scrutinize my path and my lying down and are intimately acquainted with all my ways. And he goes on from there and just talks about how the Lord has deep knowledge of his life. He knows not only his external life, his lying down and his rising up, but he knows his internal life, even his thoughts, even while they haven't really been fully formed yet. The Lord already knows the thoughts that he has. The Lord knows him inside and out. And when we think about our human relationships, as much as another person might have things in common with us, as much as they might know some things about us, no one knows us like the Lord does. And there's times when we are trying to explain ourselves, we're trying to give people our side of the story or of our experiences. And we just realize, they don't quite fully understand. As well intentioned as they may be, as much as they're trying to understand, they don't fully understand what we're experiencing. But the Lord does. The Lord knows us, again, inside and out. And that should cause us to value our relationship with him. But also, we see his nearness in this psalm. It says, where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the dawn, if I dwell in the remotest part of the sea, even there your hand will lead me and your right hand will lay hold of me. In other words, the Lord is always near to us, no matter where we're at, no matter what we're experiencing in life, no matter where we are geographically, the Lord is there with us. And of course, that can't be said of human relationships. There's a time when we're separated, geographically from our loved ones. There's times when we have to move away. There's time when they move away. Maybe it's just during certain periods of the day, they're not around us. Or we could definitely think about ultimately in death, where we are separated from them till the end of our lives. And certainly our relationships on this earth are such that even our nearest and dearest friends can't be with us all the time and be quite so readily available to us as the Lord is. But then also we see here in the Lord, we see his history with us. He has a history with us. It says in verse 13, for you formed my inward parts, you wove me in my mother's womb, and I will give thanks to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. Your eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in your book were written all the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them. So the psalmist says, Lord, you were there with me, and your eyes saw me even when I was being formed in the womb. Even before I was born, you were there. And the Lord has that history with us. And we could say that history that he had wasn't just in the womb. Of course, as time went on, after being born, after becoming a toddler and growing up into an adolescent and a teenager and an adult, and all the experiences that the psalmist had as an adult, the Lord was there and he saw everything that was going on. So the Lord has this history with him. Some of our most dearest friends and the people that we have the most deepest relationships with are people that we have a history with. We maybe can go back to high school or junior high or even further back, people that we grew up with, and maybe we stay connected with them. And we have this long history with them. Oftentimes those relationships are extremely deep. We could think about our siblings, or we could think about our cousins or people that we knew in school. But, there's just this inherent depth to those relationships simply because we went through a lot with them, and they knew us all the way back even into the early years. Well, the Lord goes even further back than that, and he knew us even before anyone else really saw us. Even when we were hidden, the Lord saw us in that time. But then also because of his thoughts towards us. In verse 17, how precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How vast is the sum of them. It's always comforting to know that someone's thinking about you. Oftentimes, people send letters just letting people know, hey, I'm thinking about you. You're on my mind. And that's always an encouragement to know that other people have you on their mind. Well, with the Lord, we are constantly on his mind. Matter of fact, his thoughts were vast, so much so that the psalmist couldn't even tally up the sum of them. Um, and so we know that the Lord is always thinking about us. We're always on his mind. And that's a comfort to us. And that's something that can't necessarily be said of human relationships that we have on this earth. If nothing else, while the other person is asleep, they're not necessarily thinking about us, but the Lord is still thinking about us and still has us on his mind. And so for all these different reasons, because of his knowledge of us, because of his nearness to us, because of the history he has with us, and because of his thoughts toward us, our relationship with God is the best relationship we can cultivate. And it ought to be the number one relationship we're pursuing in life. We should also value those other relationships. It's not that those aren't important. And as we worship with others, believers, and people of like-minded faith, we want to cultivate those relationships because those relationships point us to the ultimate relationship we have with God. But still, above all, we should pursue the Lord and realize that he is our greatest friend. He is our greatest ally. He is the one that we can cultivate the deepest relationship with. And hopefully we'll be motivated to do that as we read Psalm 139 today. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do a reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.